No institution has had a bigger impact on my family.
The lab was this enormous dream.
I grew up in Hyde Park. I was a lifer at lab.
In 8th grade, that was when I joined the lab school.
Good evening. I'm Dave McGill, and as of tonight, I will have attended more Alumni Awards ceremonies than any director in the 125-year history at the lab schools. And tonight will be exceptionally great. It is with great pleasure to bring everyone together to celebrate the laboratory school's extraordinary alumni. Although we look forward to be back in person as soon as possible, we're pleased to be able to reach even more of you in this virtual format. The Alumni Awards program has a long and storied history. It was in 1990 when the laboratory schools bestowed its first Distinguished Alumni Award to Edward Levy, class of 1928, an American academic leader, scholar, and statesman. Since then, this ceremony has included a Supreme Court Justice, John Paul Stevens, the class of 1937, the former CEO of Paramount Pictures, Sherry Lansing, the class of 1962, the former director of the Alvin Ailey School of Dance, Denise Jefferson, the class of 1961, the founder and CEO of Ariel Capital Management, John Rogers, class of 1976, and Dr. Janet Rowley, a clinical medical researcher who was the first to identify the cause of leukemia and other cancers, the class of 1942. And this year's honorees are wonderful additions and just as impressive. The Alumni Association Awards Committee spent hours going through the challenging process of selecting an outstanding group of recipients from the pool of nominees. It seems as if you high graduates always find new and interesting ways to improve the world, and this makes the committee's job even more difficult. I speak on behalf of all of Lab when I say thank you to the committee for their hard work. And I would now like to present the first of our 2 Alumni Service Awards. The Alumni Service Award recognizes alumni who have demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to the lab school community. Our 2 recipients this year have given countless hours back to the community and helped to shape Lab into what it is today. And now to our first Alumni Service Award.
My great-grandfather came to the south side of Chicago in the early 1900s. And for the next 100 years, the university has been a near constant presence in our lives. While I settled on the north side, just a few blocks from the Latin school, I explained to my saint-like wife, Kathy, that our children, if accepted, would need to be schlepped down to Hyde Park. And so Amy and Julie attended Lab, nursery school through 12, and nursery school through 8th grade, respectively. It's almost a cliche to say that Lab teaches you to think critically and independently, and that the value of an idea should be judged on its own merits. But when I'm surrounded by Lab graduates, I see this in action. Life is simply better and more fulfilling with an engaged mind, a civic attitude, and when you are interacting with people from all walks of life, ready to learn from one another. Looking back on my years at Lab, it's hard to single out the teachers that influenced me the most because so many did. I remember Ms. Kuhn and Miss Wheeler struggling and ultimately failing to teach me cursive. In high school, Judy Keene made me believe I loved chemistry, and so I started college as a chemistry major. By sophomore year, I learned, however, it was Judy Keene I loved, not chemistry. Randy Fowler and Madame Piet taught me French and made me a Francophile to this day. Merci bien. And of course, I remember the phys ed teachers. The Solomons of all 3 generations were enthusiastic athletes, spending many an hour in Sunny Gym, on the Midway, or on Jackman. Who can forget Sandy Patlack, Larry McFarland, and Brenda Caulfield, the latter 2 of whom coached both me and my kids. Amy was called Judy more than a few times, and maybe even Bobby once or twice. But as so many Lab graduates know, your experience doesn't end on graduation day. Beyond how lucky I am to have a mini lab reunion at the Thanksgiving table every year, I continue to live my lab experience every day through the lifelong friendships that I formed at lab. These days, we live in Washington, D.C., but even that fact can be traced back to lab. I watched Johnny Rogers, class of '76, play basketball in Sunny Gym and followed him to college, where we became even better friends. When we returned to Chicago, we both, of course, sent our daughters to lab. In the course of time, John introduced me to some fellow lab parents who later became the president and the first lady. My wife had the honor of working for the campaign and serving in the administration. If that's not an impact, I don't know what is. My name is Bob Solomon, or perhaps I should say Bobby, and I'm a lab school alum. Thank you so much for this award. It's quite an unexpected honor. Any work I've done on behalf of lab has paled in comparison to the benefits I've derived from being part of the lab community, which for me started 55 years ago and for our family started about 90 years ago. I'm sorry my dad is not here to see me receive the award, as he also loved lab so much. I'm especially pleased to receive this award during Dave McGill's return engagement with lab, as he and his lovely wife Judy came to know and be loved by all 3 generations of lab school Solomons. I'm also pleased to join my classmate Annie Neal in receiving this award. Andy and I started working on behalf of lab back in high school by selling inappropriate t-shirts that said, "You high?" followed by a question mark. Hey, it was the 70s, anything went. We've remained friends to this day and still take the lead in organizing our class reunions every 5 years, which are an absolute blast. I would like to give a special shout out to all my other lab friends and classmates, but we'd be here all day. I will give a special shout out to my big brother Jim and my twin sister Judy. Thanks again so much for this recognition. I'm going to see if I can find just the right spot on my crowded award shelf to put this lovely memento. Yeah, that should work right about there. Thanks again.
Congratulations, Bob, and thank you. And now to our second awardee of the Alumni Service Award.
I grew up on the south side of Chicago. My mother was single when she had me, and she was still a teenager. And she and my grandmother had this vision that they didn't want to go the traditional route. So lab was this enormous dream, this chance at changing the trajectory of what a family on the south side of Chicago could do. 2 teachers that I had basically for my entire lower school career. Carol Montag, Susan Lesher, they made me feel part of lab. I don't know if they saw something, I don't know if they were just overlooking me being a knucklehead all the time, but they enabled me to make mistakes and do things. And I started arguing and debating when I was in 2nd grade, and they let me do it. They didn't stop me, they encouraged me to do it, they helped me do it better. My closest friends today are still people from lab school. The more distant you get from lab school, the more you realize that you have a shared set of values and experiences. A lot of my close friends today from lab are ones that graduated several years before or several years after. It's not surprising to me because I know we've got these shared experiences and values, and those are the ingredients for developing these great friendships over time. The year I graduated lab, my grandmother actually started working at lab in the lower school office. She was a secretary in the lower school office. She worked there for over 10 years. When lab was going through big renovation, the thing that got me excited was that it was an opportunity to name the lower school office that she had worked in for so many years after her. So many places around lab that are named after Nobel Prize winners, but the fact that there can be that office named after somebody that was a secretary for the lower school and just loved the school so much, I think, gets to the values of the school. In reflecting on my childhood, I realized how much lab was a catalyst for me. It's that point that I decided I couldn't just continue to root for it from the sidelines. I had to do what I could to continue to make sure lab was strong. I also saw that there's an opportunity to make sure that there are other kids there that had the same journey that I did. And it's not a one-way street. It's not just that those kids are going to benefit from being at lab. The rest of the lab community benefits from those kids being there as well. They all learn from each other, and that's a big part of why I'm still involved, and I want to do what I can to not just be appreciative of the opportunity that my mother, my grandmother, the school gave me, but make sure that I can help create that opportunity for other people. My name is Jason Tyler, and I'm a lab school alum. It's an honor to win the Alumni Service Award for Lab School. It's an organization that's been so incredibly important to me and my family, and I think the best years for Lab School are ahead. And so all the work that I've done so far, I think it's just the beginning. I look forward to doing even more for Lab in the future. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jason. What a moving and inspiring story. Our next award, the Rising Star Award, goes to a lab alumnus who has graduated in the last 30 years and has made a serious impact in their field.
When I was 3, they were showing The Magic Flute by Ingmar Bergman at the Music Box Theater, and my mom wanted to go see it. So she took me along, and I was mesmerized by it. And I think that that's sort of where the seeds of my love for opera started. I had a music teacher at lab named Vanya Wang who encouraged my parents at a parent-teacher conference to put me in some extracurricular music activities. And so she told my parents that if I were interested in singing in a choir, that I join the Chicago Children's Choir. It was at the choir that I learned really about the power of music and about what it means to sing and the good that we can put out into the world. It was a really amazing experience, and that was all thanks to Vanya Wang. I think the thing that is really special about lab, at least my experience there, is that there are people that have known me since I was like 4 years old or 5 years old or whatever. And, you know, a lot of them are like siblings. I'm still very close with them. And I don't think that that is a universal experience of childhood, which I think is very beautiful. As hard as a life in the arts can be, it is very rewarding. Even if it doesn't mean you sing at the Met or you win a Grammy, you're basically successful just for sticking with it. You just got to believe in what you're doing. And I believe in what I'm doing. And I've said a million times, I believe in what art can do for other people. A few years ago, I wanted to take my career into my own hands, and I started to wonder what I was going to own and what I was going to create and put out into the world, and I knew that I wanted to do that with recordings. I released my first solo album on the Avi label. It's called Songs of Orpheus in 2018, and it won the Grammy for Best Classical Solo Vocal Performance in 2019. That's why I think it's really important to encourage young kids to pursue art, whether it's professionally or just extracurricularly. Art is important, and art means a lot to a lot of people. So it's important that we keep doing it. My name is Karim Sulayman, and I'm a lab school alum. Thank you so very much for this honor. It means a lot to me to be recognized by a place that I spent a huge part of my life. And I wish I could share this moment with all of you in person, but I guess that's not happening. I would just like to encourage everybody who's still involved with Lab to remember that an education in the arts is very important, whether that means that the student would go on to have a career in the arts or not, just be an appreciator. But it's super important, and I want to leave you with that, and I want you to know that I am thankful from the bottom of my heart for this.
Congratulations, Karim. I think I speak for many of us in the Lab community who are eagerly awaiting your next album. Our final award of the evening is Lab School's highest honor. This award celebrates the accomplishments of alumni across spheres of professional and personal achievement, public and civic service, and philanthropic and volunteer engagement. And now to the Distinguished Alumni Award.
I was born and I grew up in Singapore, and by all means, I would have stayed there forever, worked there forever, but as serendipity would have it, my father was sent by his institution to the University of Chicago as a mature student to do his PhD. So my parents and I packed up to Chicago when I was in 8th grade, and that was when I joined the lab school. In 4th grade in Singapore, we did things about medical discoveries. We read about Louis Pasteur and Anton van Leeuwenhoek, and then I said, well, I want to put science and medicine together. Well, in Singapore, there was no MD PhD program, so serendipity had it that I came to Chicago, went through lab, and then, of course, I was able to do an MD PhD. I stayed at UFC to do my MD PhD as well. And I think that that's life-altering. I study genes that when altered in the germline, every single cell in the body, that it gives a very high predisposition to cancer. That's what my lab is studying. Can we make precise predictions for one person and not for a group? What I would say to aspiring scientists at lab is make sure you're passionate about science. Just learn all you can do at lab. At lab, you're friends for life, so if anyone came and said, I need help, I would help them, and I suspect they would help me. And we're all part of the same tribe, irrespective of whether we are in touch with each other or not. My name is Charis, and I'm a proud lab school alum. Awards like this come once in a lifetime, and it's particularly joyous when one is surprised. And so when you're surprised, it brings such happiness. I'm, of course, deeply, deeply honored and humbled to be a recipient of the Distinguished Alumna Award from Lab School. I'm doubly honored because I need to thank all my teachers and my colleagues there, as well as my parents. So I'm also triply honored as I've been blessed with the distinguished awards for the Pritzker School of Medicine as well as the university. And so I am a product of UFC, all the way from lab to an MD PhD, and that has prepared me not just for professional life, but for a successful personal life. Therefore, I accept this on behalf of all my trainees, past and present, because they have contributed to my success as well, and on behalf of all my teachers at lab. Thank you.
Congratulations, Charis. Your work is important and inspiring and makes all of us at the Lab School proud to say we are part of your community. I'd like to extend one last big congratulations to all of our recipients this year. A diverse and impressive group of individuals incredibly deserving of the awards bestowed unto them. But before we say our farewells, we have one final surprise. This past year, 2 classmates and friends from the class of 1970 got together and created one of the most successful class funds in years. They have been kind enough to allow us to pull back the curtain on how they made this happen, with the hope of inspiring fellow alumni and future classes to follow in their footsteps. Let's see what Steve Tulsky and Erica Meyer have to share with us.
I'm Steve Tulsky. I went to the lab school from 5th grade through high school, graduating in 1970.
I'm Erica Meyer, and I am lab class of 1970.
The class of 1970 fund came together as my fundraising partner, Erica Meyer, and I sort of realized that our class had been incredibly engaged with each other personally, very much through the efforts of Hannah Banks, a classmate who has kept us together, has made our reunion special.
Our classmate Hannah Banks has pulled us together over the years. So it's our 50th year. We have created the class of 1970 Endowed Scholarship Fund.
And we realized that we've gotten to our 50th reunion, and here we are very close as people, as friends. So we felt that it was time for us to honor the school that made us who we were by giving the class an opportunity to support making lab available to kids who otherwise wouldn't have had the opportunity.
We will be able to sponsor the scholarship or have endowed the scholarship for one student to attend lab.
I hope that classes, that other alums get to the point where they look at their lives and realize how critical lab was to who they became and to what they did. And in that realization, recognize that what lab does for us should be available to more people.
What would I suggest for another class? Get someone who's passionate about the class, like a Hannah Banks, who can bring people together and connect them in fun ways, just staying in touch. It never hurts to ask. People want to be asked by somebody they know, but if it comes from a classmate, it's sort of like someone saying, I'm in this, won't you join me? Yeah. I don't know if you will. I don't know. Hey,
Hey,
do we have a secret handshake?
yeah, but I forgot it.
Yeah, we do.
I think you and I both feel that we'd like, as many classmates as possible to share in what we're doing, and not just to share by throwing in money, but to share in this feeling of honoring, this key part about who we are by connecting with the school in a way that is really meaningful.
I absolutely agree, and the idea of how lucky we were to attend this incredible institution, and I think there is a little danger for some members of the class, or classes before and classes after, that you don't remember that not everybody gets an education like this.
And here we are, we were able to go to this incredible school because we were either professors' kids or professionals' kids or whatever. And you look at that and say that's clearly how privilege works, and the university is not going to just give away admissions. And we can do that. We can create that. I'd love to see half the school be people who are not paying tuition themselves in the future. That would feel right to me. But we start with this.
Well said. I'm not going to add anything to that. But it's really been fun doing this, incredibly rewarding. Bye.
Thank you again, Erica and Steve. Your story is impressive, it's inspiring, and of course appreciated by all of us here at Lab. And that concludes our 2021 Lab Alumni Awards ceremony. Another congratulations to all of our awardees for their accomplishments, and a special thank you to the awards committee. Thank you for joining us tonight, and to any of your fellow classmates who are not able to join us here, let them know that this ceremony will be available to watch online. Good night, and be well.